For 5 years, Fang Yuan was the absolute perfect husband to Bai Ningbing in everyone's eyes. Gossip magazines even ranked him as the #1 wife-loving husband, but nobody knew the truth. Seriously, what kind of role was he actually playing in this sad marriage? For 5 long years, she remained completely cold and detached. And over time, his burning passion for her slowly faded to nothing. He knew he was never the one she truly wanted, the one she could never let go of. Talk about heartbreaking. So he finally asked for a divorce and walked away. But just a week later, she blocked him right at his new front door, calling out his nickname, Fang Yuan. With bloodshot eyes, she begged to know why he abandoned her. Let us flash back to that afternoon. Secretary Zhang had sent him a message saying President Bai had a business dinner tonight. She would be home around 10:30, so he scrolled on his phone for a bit. He just texted back a simple, "Okay, thank you, 10:30. She would probably have eaten by then, and most likely drank some alcohol too. All he needed to do was run a warm bath for her and lay out her clean clothes in the bathroom. Once everything was ready, it was exactly 10:15. After thinking it over, he left a light on in the living room and went to sleep. Drifting in and out of sleep, he faintly heard the front door click open. The sound of running water from the bath lulled him back toward his dreams. Suddenly, a familiar scent drifted over, and a warm body pressed against his chilly back. He turned around, half asleep, and her lips immediately met his in a gentle kiss. She was clearly a bit tipsy, whispering to him, "Why are you sleeping so early?" She snuggled against his neck, clearly exhausted, yet she refused to let him go. Well, she always got like this when drunk, whiny and clingy unless she got her way. Honestly, this was the only time she would ever act spoiled with him. Only in this exact moment did he feel like a real husband, unable to turn her away. Late in the quiet night after they finished, she fell fast asleep in his arms. But he was left wide awake, so he got up to pour himself a glass of red wine. Sitting alone in the dark living room, he stared up at their wedding photo on the wall. Lost in thought about when to file for divorce, he remembered meeting Bai Ningbing back in college. Back then, she was a literal goddess, dazzling with her perfect grades and wealthy family. She was breathtakingly beautiful, just an absolute flawless existence. For an ordinary guy like him, falling head over heels for her was only natural. Our boy had thick skin back then, chasing after her relentlessly for 2 whole semesters. He did so many foolish things, yet her heart remained unmoved. He still remembers that snowy day. He had handmade her favorite dessert and stood waiting outside her dorm building in the freezing cold. But she only gave him a freezing cold look, saying, "Fang Yuan, stop coming to find me." She told him she already had someone she liked, but he refused to back down. He thought it was just a lazy excuse to reject him, until a lucky break changed everything. He finally saw her actual crush, Lin Sheng. He watched her gently adjust Lin Sheng's collar. She playfully stroked his hair, her eyes completely filled with warmth and love. Watching her stand on her tiptoes to kiss him, he finally understood. Turns out, Bai Ningbing was capable of deep, passionate love, but that person just wasn't him. Word of their relationship quickly spread across campus, a goddess dating a poor student. This caused massive gossip, making Lin Sheng the target of endless rumors. Everyone thought he was just a gold digger, but she always stood up to protect him. She even pulled family strings just to get into the school gossip forum for him. But honestly, this wild, passionate love story did not get a happy ending. Bai Ningbing never actually told Fang Yuan why she and Lin Sheng broke up. Word on the street is she wanted Lin Sheng to marry her right after graduation. Basically, she wanted a live-in husband for her wealthy family, but Lin Sheng refused. The guy said he would never rely on a woman and wanted to carve his own path. Honestly, tons of students saw them constantly fighting all over campus. They kept breaking up and making up until Lin Sheng decided to move back to his hometown. On the day he left to teach, they split. 6 months later, a joint business project brought Fang Yuan and Ningbing back together. Working together made them close again, and looking back, it is pretty clear what happened. Fang Yuan basically caught her at her weakest, treating her incredibly well, just like before. He constantly shared his business insights from the Fang group to help her out. He would remind her to drink less at business dinners and always escorted her home safely. 3 months later, on a freezing, snowy night, she spotted him downstairs. Seeing Fang Yuan shivering in the cold, she walked up and asked him a question. She asked if he really liked her that much, and he just stared back silently. He nodded. Yeah, he always loved her. She smiled and asked him to marry her. Back then, Fang Yuan was genuinely so excited and passionate about their marriage. Honestly, for most of the past 5 years, he poured his entire heart into it. He was deeply in love, and honestly, he was naive enough to believe something else. He truly believed that she proposed to him because she actually loved him back. So even if she rarely texted back, or if he had to ask her secretary, just to know her daily schedule, and even if they had zero real intimacy, outside of their cold routine, nothing could ever ruin his unconditional love for her. As an only child, she had to inherit and run her massive family business. But since Fang Yuan has an older brother, his life was way less stressful. Her grandfather was brutal, and the entire board of directors of her company constantly gave her a hard time, so he knew she was struggling immensely. Because of this, he made a huge sacrifice and left his own family business. He joined her company just to manage their most chaotic and messy branch. He knew how incredibly hard it was for her to survive in that corporate jungle. So he did absolutely everything to keep her from worrying about anything else. Even when he literally collapsed from exhaustion, he just went to the hospital alone. But then, the plot twist hits when he accidentally stumbles upon a hidden box. Inside, a document revealed she had been secretly sending money for years to a remote countryside school, and the principal of that exact place always wrote heartfelt letters back to thank this mysterious, anonymous donor through a middleman agency to make sure she got them. Every single one of those letters was stacked perfectly inside the box. And the principal of that school? It was Lin Sheng. The next morning, Fang Yuan asked the maid to make breakfast when Ningbing suddenly came up behind him. She hugged him tightly, which honestly caught him completely off guard.
He turned around and asked if she wanted breakfast, and she quietly nodded.
Auntie is completely stunned, staring blankly at our boy. Yuan looks awkwardly at the breakfast ingredients. Honestly, he used to always make sure Auntie prepared 2 portions of breakfast. It didn't even matter if his wife ate at home, since she always left way earlier than him. And man, he used to cherish those rare moments they could actually share a meal together. But lately, he stopped ordering double portions. At this point, it just feels like a complete waste of food. So he plates up the egg roll Auntie just made and hands it to his wife, telling her to eat first. She looks at the plate, pauses, and tells him to eat up because she isn't heading to the office yet. She says she is going straight to the supplier and can just grab a quick bite on the road. He puts the milk down too, turning around to leave. Suddenly, she pulls him back, looking like she wants to say something but hesitates. He looks back, totally confused, while she steps close, wraps her arms around his waist, and looks up at him. She asks if he is in a bad mood lately, wondering if the heavy workload at the branch office is burning him out. She looks up at him. Is he tired? Honestly, yeah, he's been low-key exhausted lately. Thinking about the divorce is exhausting. But then, she tells him she actually has a free evening.
She mentions her secretary found a new Michelin star restaurant that just opened up right near the office.
It serves his favorite Cantonese food, so she asks him if they should go together. He freezes for a second, needing to make absolutely sure she actually has free time tonight.
She nods with a sweet smile on her face. She says of course she does, so he happily smiles and tells her he will swing by her office tonight.
He wraps his arms around her, instantly feeling a massive weight lift right off his chest. Since she actually has time, that means they can finally sit down and discuss the divorce tonight. But of course, when the time comes, Bai Ningbing stands him up yet again. She broke her promise at 5 p.m. Just as he finishes up and walks out of the supplier's office, he gets a text message from her secretary. Yep, Bai Ningbing has some sudden business to attend to and can't make it to dinner anymore. Honestly, being stood up has happened so many times during their 5-year marriage that he is completely numb to it. He just goes home, changes his clothes, and gets ready to prep a solo dinner for himself. After eating, he spends some time reviewing the quarterly reports sent over from the branch office. Then he grabs his phone, hoping to unwind a bit by scrolling through some local short videos. And that is exactly when he spots Bai Ningbing featured in a trending local video.
She isn't alone either. Lin Sheng is right there with her.
They are sitting opposite each other at the cafe on the first floor of the Bai Group headquarters. The uploader seems to be an employee at the company, excitedly showing off the moment in the video. Look at our insane company perks, running into our gorgeous goddess boss right after work. She is having a cozy coffee date with the famous educator, Principal Lin. Principal Lin is somehow even more handsome in real life than on TV. I low-key want to ask for his autograph. The video was posted just 5 minutes ago, and the comment section is already completely flooded with pure adoration. People are commenting how the gorgeous CEO and the handsome teacher look so perfect together, asking if the company is hiring. Everyone wishes they were there, while our boy just silently watches the clip on loop. He locks his screen. Turns out she flaked on their dinner just to hang out with Lin Sheng. For some reason, even though he is literally her legal husband, he somehow feels like her ditching him to meet up with Lin Sheng is completely normal. Because honestly, even after 5 years of marriage, it's clear where he stands. In her heart, he probably doesn't even compare to Lin Sheng. At 9:30 p.m., he finally hears her walk through the door. "What did you have for dinner?" she asks, casually walking over to sit right next to him. She actually asks about his dinner for once, but he stays silent. He quietly asks if she has plans tonight. Is it because Lin Sheng is back? She freezes in surprise. Annoyed, she demands to know who told him. He saw it online. She sighs, claiming she kept quiet to avoid misunderstandings. She insists nothing is going on, saying she only made a school donation. But it leaked, bringing a TV crew to thank her. She claims she only did a few quick interviews. They only met in the office cafe, she explains. She grabs his arm, bringing up their 5-year marriage. She asks if he trusts her, promising tomorrow. When she suggests Cantonese food, Fang Yuan abruptly cuts her off. He admits he actually hates Cantonese food, only eating it for her. He only lied back then just to spend more time eating together. She is stunned when he asks if she knows his tastes. She stays silent because, of course, she has no idea. Honestly, she never even cared to find out. His frustration is ready to explode. Instead, he asks a bitter question. So she remembers Lin Sheng? She knows his coffee order and favorite croissants. Yet she does not know her husband's taste. Frowning, she asks what his problem is. She says they can talk, but demands he leave Lin Sheng out. One mention of her ex and she is already defensive. This is wild. Fang Yuan takes a deep breath and looks her in the eye. He asks for a divorce. Dead silence. She stares, completely shocked. Is he crazy? He is dead serious, but she tells him not to joke.
He repeats himself as she suddenly stands up in frustration.
She claims her tone was bad, but they only met once. Divorce over this? She is completely baffled. She misses the point. If she wanted to cheat, she would do it better. She tells him he should know how she operates after 5 years. And honestly, he really does. She is a proud, dominant woman who plans everything. She would make it absolutely flawless so he would never find out. But does she know him? Did she ever even love him? Seeing that viral clip tonight, all his old school day insecurities about Lin Sheng came rushing back. It is so obvious that whenever Lin Sheng is there, she never sees her husband. Low-key heartbreaking, honestly. But begging for love feels pretty pathetic to him now. They are just not a good match anymore. He says she deserves better, but she instantly snaps back. Pleading, she grabs his hand, claiming he was always a perfect husband. But Fang Yuan is done playing house. He flinches away from her hand. Bai Ningbing freezes midair, her fingers hovering over the signed divorce papers he laid out. She cuts him off with an annoyed sigh. She already explained the whole Lin Sheng situation. She even swore there would be absolutely no more contact between them. "What more do you want?" she asks, her expression turning incredibly cold. She snaps that if he keeps obsessing over tonight, he is just acting completely unreasonable. "Why is a grown man clinging and nagging like a needy woman?" she asks. Her harsh words leave him speechless. It is obvious they are not resolving this tonight. Maybe realizing she crossed a line, she silences herself for a brief moment. She softens her voice, begging him to stop making a fuss because she is exhausted. She turns and heads to the shower, leaving him staring at her fading back. He softly whispers to her shadow that he had spicy duck blood for dinner.
She freezes for a second as he quietly adds that it is his favorite food.
Bro, is he actually getting a divorce? The very next day is wild. His brother Fang Hang stares at the divorce papers, eyes practically popping out of his head. Since this marriage, their family's business empires have been totally locked together. Fang Yuan knows that since he is definitely leaving, some things must change.
He needs to warn his brother early so he can return and manage their family company.
His brother is happy to help but cannot understand why he suddenly wants a divorce. Sure, the marriage was pretty much a forced business transaction from the start. But they always looked so incredibly happy together after the wedding. Fang Heng casually swings his golf club, completely oblivious to Fang Yuan's shock. Wait, what does he mean by a forced transaction? Fang Heng pinches his brow, instantly regretting his big mouth. He confesses that 5 years ago, the Bai family desperately needed huge cash flow.
Seeing how madly Fang Yuan was in love, running to her day and night.
He gave her a tiny hint when she came begging for a corporate bailout.
Fang Yuan stares in absolute shock, demanding to know what he hinted back then.
His brother awkwardly looks away, admitting he told her that if they became family, the funding would be guaranteed. A revelation that completely freezes Fang Yuan in place. His blood runs completely cold as his brother looks at him with deep concern. Pinching his brow, he asks if there are more secrets he has been kept from. Since they are divorcing anyway, there is no reason to hide anything. Fang Hang sighs, admitting it is nothing huge, but on their wedding day, Bai Ningbing's ex-boyfriend actually showed up, leaving Fang Yuan totally stunned. He wanted to see her, but Fang Hang feared it would ruin the wedding. So he lied to him, saying the newlyweds were madly in love and happy. He chased the ex away, rubbing his neck awkwardly as he explains. But since other people were around, he does not know if she ever found out. He really has no idea, but to Fang Yuan, everything suddenly clicks. It is low-key heartbreaking. He truly believes she married him out of genuine affection. He thought his years of devotion had finally made her love him back. Instead, she was just enduring a forced marriage to save her family business. Her bitter words from 5 years ago finally make painful sense to him.
"Why do you love me enough to force me into this marriage?" she had asked.
So Bai Ningbing married Yuan, yet he built a massive wall between them. He drew a hard boundary and never let Yuan cross it. When they first married, Yuan loved texting him all the time. He wanted to hang out and share every little detail of his life. But unless it was about work, Bai Ningbing barely ever replied. He'd just have his secretary call instead, making Yuan gradually go quiet. Yuan stopped bothering him, and his main contact literally became Secretary Zheng. They still had an intimate life, with Bai Ningbing whispering sweet, gentle words. He'd call him Yuan repeatedly, which he thought was proof of their love. But whenever Yuan brought up having kids, Bai Ningbing claimed he was too busy. Saying it wasn't the right time genuinely breaks my heart. He probably never wanted kids with Yuan, since he's just a husband on paper. Nothing more! And last night, Bai Ningbing actually asked him. He promised no more drama with Lin Sheng, asking what more Yuan wanted. Honestly, those two had a chance to restart on their wedding day.
But because of Yuan, they missed out, and now he feels like the villain.
What more could Yuan want? But when he first fell for him, this wasn't what he wanted, even back when Bai Ningbing was with Lin Sheng. Yuan was envious, but never dreamed of playing the homewrecker. Or tearing them apart. He just genuinely wanted him to be happy. Yet Bai Ningbing punished him this way for 5 whole years. Wandering the streets aimlessly, Yuan unconsciously ends up at Bai Ningbing's company. With the drafted divorce papers in his briefcase, he hesitates for a moment. Then he texts Secretary Zheng saying he's here to see Bai Ningbing. He wants a divorce. He's finally done with this. Good for him. But stepping into the lobby, he suddenly bumps into Lin Sheng. He's smiling and chatting with the receptionist, turning around to face Yuan. He looks thinner than in the videos and tan compared to their school days.
Yet in just a plain shirt and jeans, he radiates pure confidence.
Maturity and grace. Then he says it has been a while. Nodding at Yuan, they head over to the first-floor cafe together. He didn't expect they could still get food here. Like the croissants and black coffee from their old university spot. Super nostalgic, Lin Sheng still has that clean, handsome smile from school. He easily talks about his recent years, proving he's truly outstanding.
After teaching in the countryside, he helped so many underprivileged kids.
Now that the school is thriving, he's actually become quite famous. That is amazing. Yuan sincerely praises him as he smiles. But Lin Sheng admits people only see the glitz, though he almost quit. Taking a sip of coffee, he reveals he actually came on their wedding day to find Bai Ningbing. Yuan just touches his cup in silence. Lin Sheng admits he took love for granted when he recklessly broke things off, hurting him deeply, but facing reality as a rural teacher changed things. The gap between dreams and reality was just way too brutal. He almost gave up so many times, especially at his lowest point. Lin Sheng admits he wanted to drop everything to come back for him, but then heard about their marriage. Our boy Fang Yuan can only offer a soft, quiet apology. Lin Sheng keeps his head down, admitting he didn't know Fang Yuan visited that day. Then he drops the ultimate bomb. He is divorcing Bai Ningbing, leaving Lin Sheng completely shell-shocked. Lin Sheng just laughs it off, thinking it's gotta be a joke. After all, the media always hypes them up as the absolute perfect power couple. Realizing he's serious, Lin Sheng quietly asks what could have possibly driven them to divorce. He just shakes his head, giving a heartbreaking response. He is just too tired. Honestly, he just wanted someone who would actually cherish him enough to let his guard down. But right at that exact moment, a familiar voice echoes from the entrance, calling out his name as they both look back. It's his CEO wife, Bai Ningbing, and she's already marching right toward their table. She looks visibly startled to see Lin Sheng, immediately frowning and asking what he's doing here. Seeing her reaction, our boy instantly knows exactly what is running through her head. She literally thinks he came to harass Lin Sheng, who quickly stands up to defuse the situation. Lin Sheng politely explains he was the one who reached out about some educational charity projects. He mentions it's the same project from before, and since he had some free time, they met up. Bai Ningbing immediately cuts in, coldly suggesting her secretary take Lin Sheng upstairs to finish the talk. Without wasting a single second, she summons her secretary to quickly escort Lin Sheng out of the cafe. Fang Yuan figured she would just follow them up, but instead, she stays put, staring at him. He is honestly so confused. Did she really send her precious Lin Sheng away? Just to pick a massive public fight with him? He is still her husband, after all. Seriously, the favoritism is wild. She's not even trying to hide it in public anymore. Left with no choice, he sighs and tries to explain that it's really not what she thinks. But before he can even finish, she suddenly cuts him off, asking if he's feeling all right. Before our boy can even process the sudden change, she steps closer and grabs his hand. She looks genuinely concerned, asking why his face is so pale and why his hands are ice cold. With company employees passing by and whispering, Fang Yuan suddenly realizes what's actually going on. Her sudden affectionate behavior isn't real at all. She's just putting on a massive show. Since they rarely display affection in public, she is definitely playing the crowd. She probably thought he'd cause trouble for Lin Sheng, which is why she quickly sent him away. And now she's acting all loving just to prevent any nasty rumors from hurting her favorite guy. Honestly, our boy doesn't even care anymore, considering they're about to sign those divorce papers anyway. He figures playing along with her little show is fine, especially since he has no plans to make a scene. Besides, keeping things peaceful right now will make the divorce negotiations go a lot smoother. With that in mind, he puts on a gentle smile, telling her he is totally fine.
He tells her she should get back to her meeting, pulls his hand away, and grabs his bag to leave.
But out of nowhere, she actually stops him, pulling him close and asking where he thinks he's going.
She suddenly presses her hand against his forehead, gasping that he is running the burning fever.
Before he can even say a word, she practically drags him straight to her car to head to the hospital. Our main character is just completely speechless at this point, even offering to drive instead. See, back when they were happy, he'd always drive just so she could get some rest. But she firmly shuts him down, pointing out that he's the one who's sick here. She insists on taking the wheel, leaving him completely baffled. He genuinely thought this was just a convenient excuse to kick him out, but she's actually taking him to the clinic. The doctor tells them it is nothing major. His temperature is completely normal. Then the doc asks Bai Ningbing how long her husband has had low blood sugar. Bai Ningbing freezes, but Yuan just casually answers that it has been a few years. The doc warns her that family members need to pay attention and always keep candy on hand. Writing down the notes, the doctor warns her that this condition is actually no joke. Beyond just fatigue and heart palpitations, severe cases can literally make someone pass out. Bai Ningbing nods, quietly telling the doctor that she understands.
To be honest, Yuan thinks they are making a huge deal out of nothing since he always carries snacks.
Once they're done, our boy just wants to leave as soon as possible. But instead, Bai Ningbing stays behind to pester the doctor with a million questions. Honestly, it is like she suddenly became an expert on low blood sugar overnight. Walking to the parking lot, Bai Ningbing keeps clinging to Yuan's arm like her life depends on it. But after all this hospital drama, Yuan actually starts feeling pretty lightheaded. Once in the car, he grabs a piece of candy from his briefcase and pops it in his mouth. The tension in the car is so heavy that he just closes his eyes to ignore her. He has no idea how long they drove, but the car finally comes to a halt. Waking up groggy, Yuan asks if it is a red light, but the car is dead silent. Out of nowhere, she asks in a soft, breaking voice why he never told her about his condition. He looks at her, totally lost, having absolutely no clue what she is even talking about. Pulling the car over, she asks if this was really the first time he felt this sick. "Why did you never tell me before?" she begs. But Yuan just closes his eyes and says, "I did." He reminds her of the first week they were married, when she used to come home incredibly late. One Friday, his blood sugar crashed while driving home from the branch office, and he felt insanely dizzy. So he had to pull over immediately, just to send her a desperate text for help. He asked if she could bring him some candy, but she never replied, and honestly, she probably forgot. At this point, Yuan sighs, saying he used to spam her with texts, so forgetting was normal. But wait, he brings up another time she definitely remembers, back when they did a magazine interview. A reporter accidentally knocked over his briefcase that was sitting on the couch. All his emergency candy spilled out, making the reporter suspect they secretly had a kid together. The rumors started flying, and the questions in that interview got pretty invasive and tricky. Bai Ningbing was furious, and the second it ended, she pulled him aside to scold him. She literally told him to stop keeping so much useless junk in his briefcase. So why did he never tell her? Because she never actually gave him the chance to. Honestly, he was just terrified his illness would give her another reason to resent him. Since she hated the candy, he hid it in a secret compartment so she would never see it. When she wanted to run the Bai family empire, he did everything in his power to help. All to make her dreams come true. But right then, she suddenly grabs his hand, crying out, "Yuan!" She whispers that she actually booked a nice Sichuan place for them to eat together tonight. Her hands are low-key shaking as she realizes he is too sick for spicy food. So she softly begs him to let her take him somewhere light and healthy instead. But Yuan just shakes his head, saying he will just have some simple porridge at home alone. He tells her to go back to work, but she desperately insists that she has time tonight. Our boy has to remind her that her business partner Lin Sheng is literally still waiting for her. She claims the vice president can handle it, leaving Yuan completely confused by her sudden change. "So you are actually free tonight?" he asks, and she slowly nods her head. Since Bai Ningbing actually has some free time, Yuan decides they need to talk. He suggests they head straight home, and she quietly nods in agreement. For a second, a flicker of joy crosses her eyes as she agrees. Honestly, he feels a bit lighter too, but he's already planning his next move. Because once they get home, they're talking divorce, and hearing that, Bai Ningbing shuts down completely for the rest of the drive. She's a highly sharp business mogul after all, so she definitely knows exactly what's up.
By this point, there's no way she hasn't realized he's dead serious about ending things.
The second they get home, he calmly lays the divorce papers right on the table. This is getting real, guys. He literally spent a whole month drafting this to make sure everything was absolutely flawless. Their separation won't hurt the Bai or Fang family businesses at all. He's even stepping down from managing her company branch, but tells her she can add any extra terms she wants. If she wants to adjust anything, he's totally open to negotiation.
She just stares at the paperwork in total heartbreaking silence.
Sitting across from her, he gently explains that he knows how packed her schedule is. That's why he got everything ready beforehand, to get this over with quickly without wasting her time. But then, boom, she flat out says she doesn't agree. She shoves the contract right back to him, looking away as he freezes and asks which part she hates.
He starts flipping through the pages, guessing maybe it's the company equity split.
He tells her he already made the absolute biggest concession possible without angering his brother.
Suddenly, she pins the papers down and looks him dead in the eye, saying, Yuan, I am not divorcing you. She looks straight at him, saying it word by word.
Their eyes lock, and for once, her cold CEO facade is completely gone.
He asks why, but then it suddenly clicks for him. He asks if she's just worried her next husband won't run the company branch as well as he did for the past 5 years. Or that people might talk. He tells her she really shouldn't worry about that. As long as her next partner actually tries, he'll do fine. And then he gets up to grab 5 detailed notebooks. These pages hold everything about running her family business behind the scenes. He's written down everything from handling the media to direct contacts for all their suppliers. Even the entire staff breakdown is in here, and he promises to hand it all over to help her next husband. If the new guy ever gets stuck, he's even happy to help. Talk about a clean break. He can literally ask him any time, but hearing this, she snaps and raises her voice. Yuan!
Her eyes are totally bloodshot, and he just stares back completely lost.
She literally asks him what he thinks their marriage was and what he actually thinks she is to him. Was it all just some business project to him? He stays dead silent, not uttering a word. He just turns to look out the window, thinking how it could ever be just a job. This marriage was too real for him, and that's why he worked so hard to make it survive. He poured his soul into supporting her, but at this point, saying all this is completely useless.
She reaches across the table to grab his hand, begging him to remember they aren't business partners.
They're husband and wife, but in his head, he knows that sharing a bed was the only thing they did. They had absolutely nothing else that made them a real couple, making her hesitate as she tries to find the words. He points out they barely even eat together once a month, which is honestly so sad. He doesn't even get a fraction of the text she sends her secretary on a daily basis. He might not know what a normal, happy marriage looks like, but he knows one thing for sure. He doesn't want this empty life anymore, so he gently pulls his hand away and calls her by her name. He looks at her and says, Bai Ningbing, I've thought about this a lot, and you didn't actually do anything wrong. Back then, I was the one chasing you, and I wanted this marriage. You never cheated during these 5 years, but I was the one who was constantly holding on to unrealistic fantasies. Honestly, we could keep living like this, but still. But life is too short, and we should be with someone we actually love. And who loves us back. After all, being with the person you adore makes you happier. He just stares at her, totally lost. Someone he likes? He asks her blankly who she thinks he actually loves. She just shakes her head. She has no idea, but whoever that is, whether it is Lin Sheng or anyone else, it will never be her. Fast forward to the next morning, Fang Yuan moves out and goes back to her pre-marriage apartment. The night before, they sat in silence before Bai Ningbing took a call and left. He never returned that night, but he did take the divorce papers with him.
Honestly, she figured he would agree since he really has nothing to lose.
That wedding ring on her left hand was Bai Ningbing's only gift in 5 years.
So before leaving, she takes it off and leaves it right on the nightstand.
Right after packing, her brother calls to say Bai Ningbing just reached out. Why did he suddenly call so early, asking what kind of candy she likes? Her brother is so confused, asking if they are just playing house at this point. He asks if they are actually divorcing. Fang Yuan pauses, then says yes, absolutely. Then she asks her brother about a small media company their family owns. It is struggling, and her brother admits it has not made a profit in years. He is ready to shut it down, but she holds up her phone with an idea. Looking out from the 26th floor, she asks if she can take it over. By evening, she gets a rare text from Bai Ningbing out of nowhere. He asks if they can go to the banquet together tonight. Talk about unexpected. Looking at the screen, she is dazed because this kind of text always came from his secretary before. She texts back suggesting they go separately. She also mentions she has officially moved out while they process the divorce. He stops replying. Honestly, that cold silence is way more typical of him. But an hour later, she goes downstairs to her car and spots Bai Ningbing. No idea how long he has been waiting, but the guy looks completely exhausted. His eyes are bloodshot. She has literally never seen him look this broken. As she approaches, his eyes light up, and he rushes right over to her. He grabs her hand, but suddenly freezes, demanding to know where her ring is. His voice is pure panic. She calmly replies they do not need it anymore. He raises his voice, yelling her name, saying he never agreed to this divorce. She is genuinely confused. He never said no when she brought it up last night. Plus, he took the papers with him. He just stares at her, utterly speechless. Tears suddenly well up in his eyes as he argues that silence is not consent. He pulls her into a tight hug, literally crying that he does not want this.
Bai Ningbing begging not to divorce? Talk about a massive plot twist.
She had prepared for so many obstacles like family drama or business assets, dealing with company handovers and splitting up their massive wealth.
Yet the biggest roadblock is just him refusing. Why does he suddenly care?
Bai Ningbing asks why they shouldn't divorce when it is clearly best for both of them. A Yuan freezes, just about to speak, but a loud honk cuts him off. Turns out his car is blocking the road. With people rushing them, they have no choice but to get in together. Heading to the banquet together, he slides into the driver's seat. But she immediately notices something is off with the usually spotless back seat. It is piled with gift bags, and he softly mentions buying her candy. He says he put some in the glove box too, so she never has to hold back. He adds that he stocked the whole house with her favorite sweets. He also hired great Sichuan and Hunan chefs for whatever she wants to eat, whether it is spicy or sweet. He will eat with her and even learn to cook them himself. He vows to leave work early so they can have dinner together.
He suggests movie dates and weekend theme parks, finally bringing up the whole Lin Sheng situation.
He desperately wants to explain. The company does do school charity, but he didn't personally choose that specific location. The admin office made the selection, and he had no idea it was Lin Sheng School. He only found out recently, and knows she probably saw those letters. The office had kept them, and he only saw them a few days ago. It was only because the old family patriarch somehow found out about them.
So he compiled everything to show him over the weekend.
And as for the croissants and black coffee, he sighs as he explains. The current employee at the company cafe used to work at their old school. After they lost their job, Yuan hired them. Lin Sheng used to work there too.
That is why the workers still remembered Lin Sheng and his exact preferences.
Yuan admits his attitude was bad that night, but insists Lin Sheng is purely in the past. He is just an irrelevant stranger who has absolutely nothing to do with their marriage.
Bai Ningbing tries to speak, but Yuan cuts her off. Talk about desperate.
He stayed up all night, realizing how much he messed up their marriage. He pleads that he can change, begging her for just one more chance.
Even after they arrive at the banquet, she is still completely dazed. After some polite small talk with acquaintances, she heads to the balcony for some fresh air.
But plot twist, guess who she runs into on the balcony? Her childhood friend, Tang Xin. She walks over, and Tang Xin immediately teases her about her highly praised perfect husband. Tang Xin raises an eyebrow with a smirk, her sharp tongue as unlikable as ever. Tang Xin asks if she's doing okay. Bai Ningbing knows she's the Tang family's illegitimate daughter. Her life and her family isn't easy, but Tang Xin just shrugs and says she's fine. She pulls out a cigarette and offers her one, but Bai Ningbing hesitates and declines. Tang Xin asks if she quit, and she explains she can't risk being caught by the media. Tang Xin calls her shameless before pointing toward the massive forest outside the balcony. She jokes that if anyone's actually hiding out there taking photos, she'll swallow the entire forest. Bai Ningbing can't help but laugh, though her heart is still incredibly heavy.
She changes her mind and takes one, making Tang Xin smile with approval.
Tang Xin admits that with the miserable look she had earlier, she thought she was depressed. Bai Ningbing just chuckles and asks if she's still jobless, to which Tang Xin indifferently nods.
Yuan asks Tang Xin to join his small startup, knowing she's got serious talent as a designer.
She is totally shocked, asking if he's still working at Bai Corporation. Raising an eyebrow, she asks if he is still playing the supportive husband behind President Bai. He sends over the company profile, admitting they are still in the early startup stages. The pay is bad, but he really wants her. She nods and yawns, but then her eyes suddenly dart toward the entrance. He turns around, and there she is, Bai Ningbing. His first instinct is to stub it out because she absolutely hates the smell of smoke. She walks over, frowning as she looks back and forth between Tang Xin and him. Reminding him it's bad for his health, she softly asks why he's even smoking. Tang Xin looks between both of them and asks if she seriously didn't know he smoked. Hearing that, Tang Xin blurts out he's always smoked, causing Bai Ningbing to freeze. Then Tang Xin steps forward and pats Bai Ningbing on the shoulder with a grin. She asks since they've been married 5 years, what kind of husband does she think he is? Teasing that the wife shouldn't know him less than a friend does, she finally leaves. This leaves Bai Ningbing completely pale-faced, while Yuan just gets a massive, annoying headache. He quickly tells her not to misunderstand because he didn't hide the habit on purpose. As she knows, the branch office has been insanely busy over the last few years. Her uncles were causing constant trouble behind the scenes, making things incredibly difficult to handle.
Whenever he felt too stressed and exhausted, he would just smoke alone at home.
But hearing his explanation only makes her face turn even paler, and man, the regret is real. After a moment, he adds that he and Tang Xin already checked the area. There are no hidden cameras around, so she doesn't need to worry about any PR issues. She asks if he really thinks she's just worried about some public relations scandal. Her eyes turn red, leaving him confused as she lowers her head and calls his name. She asks if she's disappointed him that much, and he is honestly speechless. Honestly, how is he even supposed to answer that? Of course he was disappointed. The more hope he had back then, the worse it felt, which is low-key heartbreaking. Since he's fully set on a divorce now, there's no point in throwing useless blame around. Shaking his head, he says the branch office is finally on track anyway. He says he doesn't smoke much anymore anyway, so she shouldn't feel too pressured. She asks if he can't share things with her instead, which catches him off guard. When he asks if she's actually willing to listen, she nods eagerly. He looks up with a dead serious expression and tells her his only real stress. All he wants is for their divorce to go smoothly and as fast as possible. At this point, Bai Ningbing is trembling all over, and honestly, the tension is insane. Since she demanded the truth, he's totally baffled when she suddenly hugs him tight. She mumbles through her tears that she will agree to absolutely anything except getting a divorce. After that day, it seems like she undergoes a complete personality shift, even though he still insists on leaving the management of her family's branch company. He starts running a new media company instead, but she keeps sending him endless gifts. She even delivers home-cooked meals and randomly shows up herself to check on him. It is basically the exact opposite of how he used to chase her back in the day. Talk about tables turning. The staff at his office have absolutely no idea. They just keep gossiping about how lucky he is to have such an amazing wife. Ever since Tang Xin joined the company, he is the only one who smirks. He just shakes his head, giving this super knowing look. A month later, the company has to prep a major bidding document. Fang Yuan drags Tang Xin into pulling back-to-back all-nighters for it. The second they finally finish, Fang Yuan stretches his sore shoulders. He notices Tang Xin looks relieved too. Usually he's just slacking off. Honestly, seeing him work this hard is a first, so Fang Yuan smiles. Tang Xin looks over completely confused, but then he just laughs. At this point, Fang Yuan realizes he might have found a hidden gem. Tang Xin jokes that he basically lowered his noble status to help out. Fang Yuan stands up and offers to buy him some late-night food. Tang Xin is totally down, but wonders if anyone else is coming. He pauses and gestures toward the office door. See, told you so, Tang Xin shrugs as Fang Yuan turns around. And yup, it is Bai Ningbing standing right there at the entrance. Tang Xin packs his bag, waving goodbye while reminding him of that meal. Fang Yuan nods. Once Tang Xin leaves, the vibe completely shifts. It is just the two of them now, and she walks over in silence. She is holding a warm lunchbox and asks if he has eaten yet. Fang Yuan responds pretty coldly that he already ate. After a heavy silence, she suddenly throws herself into his arms. She hugs him tightly, and Fang Yuan completely freezes up. He asks what is wrong, but she says absolutely nothing. She just takes a deep, shaky breath while the clock keeps ticking. She finally whispers that she is jealous. Talk about a major twist. He never expected his ice-cold wife to actually cling to him like this. She asks if he knows why she refused the divorce before. It is because she literally cannot bear the thought of him with someone else. Seeing him smile so happily with Tang Xin just completely broke her. She knows nothing is going on, but the jealousy is driving her crazy. I am literally going insane, she whispers, burying her face in his chest. Fang Yuan raises his hands to gently embrace her. He asks if she remembers why he wanted this divorce. Her body goes completely rigid as he brings up their 5-year marriage. He spent 5 years loving her, only to realize he lost himself. He wants a divorce because he needs to find himself again. He wants to live for himself now and gently pushes her away.
He begs her to let them part on good terms, but she refuses.
Tears start streaming down her face as she cries. When he tries to walk past, she desperately grabs his hand. Fang Yuan stops. She begs him for just one more chance. Her hand is burning hot. He sighs and gives her one condition. If she steps down as CEO of the Bai Corporation, they stay together.
She is completely stunned, but that is his final offer.
Giving up her entire empire for him is just way too harsh. Yuan shakes his head, pulling his hand back. But she refuses to let go, holding on to her one and only condition. Absolutely zero compromises. She finally lets go, whispering that she understands. When he mentions she might resign, his brother is stunned. He immediately bursts out laughing, insisting there is absolutely no shot she resigns. He jokes he will chop his own head off if she does, but the situation is messy. To put it simply, the old patriarch has 2 sons, Bai Ningbing's uncle and her father. Originally, the old man wanted the eldest son's side to inherit the entire empire. But her completely useless cousin ruined everything, landing himself in prison 6 years ago. That forced Bai Ningbing to take over the business, but the greedy relatives absolutely hated answering to a woman. They constantly caused chaos, everyone eyeing that powerful CEO seat. For 5 long years, Yuan was right there, quietly helping her clean up their messes. It was tough because she never actually lived in the ancestral home. She was never close to her grandfather, and as the old man aged, he became clueless. He often made terrible decisions, leaving her to face the corporate wolves alone. Yuan knows better than anyone how much blood, sweat, and tears she shed for that throne. So there was absolutely no way she would just throw that away, and she stayed silent. But after that intense conversation, Bai Ningbing completely stops reaching out to him. 3 months fly by in a flash as Yuan buries himself in his work. Luckily, the business finally shows real signs of improvement, giving Tang Xin and the staff a massive morale boost. Yuan can see his brother has actually matured a lot during this time. By December 31st, the company throws a cozy little year-end party where everyone gathers for food and karaoke. His brother even crashes the party, hyping Yuan up as a literal genius when it comes to business. But of course, the guy immediately starts pushing his luck to get what he wants. He begs Yuan to take over some of the family business, complaining that their dad is working him to death. The party vibes? Absolutely immaculate. Since Yuan agrees to help out, his brother is ecstatic. He sings and dances like crazy, completely losing his usual professional image. By 11 p.m., the whole crew finally stumbles out of the karaoke bar. Snow starts falling, and some of the staff immediately spark a wild snowball fight. Across the street, the massive mall screen is broadcasting a live television show. As his brother stands behind him, babbling endlessly, a single soft snowflake gently lands on Yuan's dark hair. He brushes it off and looks up, freezing when he sees Bai Ningbing on screen. She looks incredibly elegant as she accepts a live interview, with the reporter asking why she suddenly resigned from her CEO position. The reporter asks if there is a special reason, but she just smiles and says absolutely not.
She announces she just wants to rest and accompany her husband, leaving Yuan staring at the screen in disbelief.
Yuan turns his head to find his brother standing there, frozen, their eyes meeting in absolute shock. Slowly, the brother raises his hand and silently touches his neck, remembering his previous bet. Then, his phone rings. She asks where he is, and he replies, the downtown clock tower. She promises to be there in 30 minutes, softly calling out his name.
She tells him to keep his promise, her voice filled with a warm, relieved laughter.
At exactly 11:45 p.m., he spots her standing beneath the massive clock tower. Bai Ningbing walks toward him through the falling snow, flakes gently dusting her shoulders. Her snow-dusted hair makes the whole moment feel like a beautiful dream.
Honestly, is there even a need for this? The two of them stand there facing each other.
Now that you've officially resigned, what if you can never go back? But Bai Ningbing just shakes his head with an easy smile, saying if he can't go back, so be it. He can't believe 5 years of hard work are just thrown away.
Pinching his nose, Fang Yuan calls him willful. Taking a step closer, he asks if he's actually worried.
He hands over a thick stack of papers. It's the divorce papers, and Fang Yuan freezes. Looking at him in confusion, he waits for him to explain.
In fact, he's been thinking a lot about their relationship while finalizing his resignation.
And although he resigned, he has no intention of using his sacrifice to force anything. He doesn't want to trap him in this marriage, revealing he's already signed his part. Fang Yuan is completely baffled. After all, a smart businessman like him never makes a losing deal. But Bai Ningbing is confident he can build a brand new empire from scratch. He smiles, saying that starting over is just a more exciting challenge.
Instead, he wants to trade his resignation for something else, leaving Fang Yuan totally bewildered.
Brushing the snow gently from Fang Yuan's hair, he asks for a chance to start over. As their eyes meet in the quiet, snowy night, the atmosphere is incredibly intense.
He looks at him with pure, unprecedented devotion, wanting a real chance to pursue Fang Yuan again.
Exactly at 11:59, Fang Yuan finally signs the divorce paper, ending their hollow marriage.
No more perfect husband act. He's just himself now.
As the clock tower strikes midnight, the two of them look up at the falling snow. New Year is officially here.
Smiling with bright, hopeful eyes, Bai Ningbing reaches out his hand, wishing him a happy new year. He introduces himself like a stranger, making Fang Yuan smile as he wishes him the same.
Reaching out to hold his hand, he introduces himself as Fang Yuan. What a beautiful ending.